453 days since now 16-year-old Sebastian Rogers vanished from his home in Hendersonville. His disappearance sparked national headlines, but now his father says the case is losing momentum. With National Missing Children's Day coming up on Sunday, he is raising his voice and demanding urgency. News 2's Caitlin.
I went and talked to neighbors, and every single one of them, every single one, welcomed me. And if they had video surveillance, they gave it to me. The only person that would not talk to me, as the only person that had something to hide and wouldn't talk to me. You know, she has a son that's hiding and waiting for somebody in the dark, late night on the 25th. And there needs to be some explaining for that. I'll just leave it at that.
That we are going to keep searching, we are going to keep looking, we are going to find him, and we are going to bring him home.
Since we first aired the video last month, authorities have said no evidentiary value.
It is of no evidentiary value. It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No.
Why?
Because the investigation remains ongoing.
Yeah, I'm working on behalf of Sebastian. I am not. My client is Sebastian, and they're the guardians that have the ability to sign.
It just started. Hi, Dad. I know this is gonna sound weird, but tomorrow's picture day. So could you send some decent clothes over to me so that I can wear the decent clothes and be handsome for my birthday? We don't decent clothes. Mom.
Because our heart is missing. He is my world. I need him. I need him back with me.
And I would just say thank you to everyone and anyone that is a part of that. Is a part of that.
It's much to bear and you don't care, and I won't play alone. I got you in my sight. I keep all the words you said to me. I get you on your knees. Rewrite all the things you said that I should be. I'll get you, now you'll beg me please. Hey.
All right, welcome everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Give me just a second here. Let me know how I sounded, chat. I do apologize. I have been out for quite a while. I have been hit with the nastiest flu virus, and it is terrible. But it's good to see everybody. I hope everybody's doing well, staying warm. For those that have been hit with that nasty storm. You got 6 inches. Dang. Yeah, we here in Utah, we lucked out for sure. So, but I've seen pictures of what's been going on, man, and that's crazy. For those people out there in like the Midwest and stuff. Oh, it's probably because I'm not. Let's see. Let me check my mic, make sure. Oh, it is. Could be my voice. Kind of lost my voice a little bit too. Mic check, mic check. Let me know how I sound, and we'll get going here. Somebody reminded me of this quote. Someone can remind me. This is one of the few Facebook messages, and this was somebody. I think was this day 2 for someone that knows this, but for anybody who doesn't remember. This was like day 2 or 3, right? And this lady said that she thought she had seen Sebastian, and she said she was 3 feet away from him at 4:45 today. I was walking my dogs on Newman's Trail. And we continue on, and Katie responded with the craziest response. And it's been a while since I've seen this one, so I thought I'd bring this up before we get started. Thank you for the well wishes. Yeah, not 100%, far from it, but enough to feel we can do a live today. Dang, 15 inches, holy hell. That is nuts. Yeah, so it's just that I'd remind people. So if you don't remember, anyway, does anybody remember what day this was? I know it was like day 1 or day 2, if I recall. It couldn't have been more than 1 or 2 days. But anyway, Katie responded to this person claiming that they'd seen Sebastian, and she responds with, "What did he say?" Question mark. Anything? Did he seem stressed? And then I don't know, they're all big flex, but the biggest one was he wearing shoes? Anyway, not how is he doing? Is he okay? Is he hungry? um, but yeah, is he wearing shoes? It's absolutely wild. Was it? Yeah, I was gonna say it was either day 1 or day 2. Um, which is absolutely wild. But and the fact that she actually responded, but oh my gosh, such a strange response. Ice and Power was our bit. Yeah, that is crazy. That's why I took the weekend off. Because that's when that storm was hitting, and I figured maybe some of my mods are out in that direction, and I figured, well, I'll just take the last weekend, that's what I'm talking about, off when it first hit, just in case there was power outage, and then I got hit with the flu on Monday. Perfect timing. Still got so much going. There's no telling how many inches. Still got sleet. Yeah, ice is the worst. That's scary. That is scary. Oh, what Newman's Trail? Oof. Let's see. Forget how. I think it's like 3 hours away. Oh, maybe not. Oh no, no, no. It's just right there. Never mind. 3 miles away. That's what it is. I had 3 in my mind. I don't know why I said 3 hours. 3 miles. That's what it is. Yeah, 3 miles away right here. So again, yeah, not far. All things considered. But yeah. Kind of interesting. Oh, thank you, Ziggy. And hello to my wonderful mod. Sorry, guys, I didn't say hi earlier. I'm still just getting back here. So anyway, this is what we're planning on making. There's, it's not 100% yet, but I think this would be a really cool idea. So we are working behind the scenes with, I think it's called By Stadium, BY Stadium is the company. And you can ask to make any kind of things like this. And so what we're going to try to do, and this is a mock-up from them. It's a keychain flashlight, green. It's got Sebastian's picture on it. Now this image I got, it's not the best image. It's very small, so do keep in mind. I'm sure it'll look better when it's, if we do have it, everything works out. But green keychain flashlight has his picture on it, has call FBI on it, and then in the black, which I don't know if you'll be able to read it. Again, this will have probably better images in the next few days, maybe. But in the little black text at the bottom there, I'm supposed to zoom in here. Let's see, here we go. It has a website that takes you to the FBI poster, which is good. Now, what we're trying to do, which is could be a great idea. We're trying to think of all the negatives and ask them. But what we're trying to do is, so we pay in advance, right? Maybe get like 300, and I think they quoted like $500 or $550 or something like that for 300 of them. And what you can do is you have a website, I believe, or something like this. And I may get some of this wrong, so please take it with a grain of salt. But you can basically order one for free. And basically we can get those people to order them. And we're hoping that just one household only one per household. That makes sense. And anyway, people can order them and they'll come out and you get it for free. And that way we have 300 of them and they can get sent all over the U.S. We still have some questions and stuff that we're asking to make sure everything's legit. And I mean, as far as By Stadium, it's a legit website and company. But yeah, I think this would be a really cool idea. I mean, it's a keychain flashlight, but it's got Sebastian on it, which is, I think, the most important, and his info. And then, again, it's not just like a flyer where somebody will take a flyer and then, who knows, maybe they put it away or they throw it in the trash. Well, here you got a keychain flashlight. I mean, it's there, right? It's something you keep a hold, and then it's always there to remind you, right? Like maybe you go out of state or something, and then hey, look, Anyway, there's just so many different facet, ways that this could be amazing idea, utility to get his name out there. Yeah, I think it's great. I still have a few concerns, but we're gonna get those questions hopefully answered in the next couple of days. We can't speak to them over the weekend, but we just got the mock-up in the last day or two. So anyway, yeah, let me know what you think. But yeah, I think this is a great idea. I really do. As long as we can get the little concerns that we have answered. Yeah, because again, it's something that people, it's not going to just be a flyer where somebody, again, I know people have best intentions, but it's probably, somebody's going to get a flyer. You have to look at it, which is great. Are they really going to share it, or are they just going to put it away, and it gets lost? Whereas a keychain, you always have it. So, yeah. So, anyway, and we already have the funds for it. So, still have plenty of funds. And yeah. Yes, I heard that. In my opinion, I think that's a great idea. I don't know a lot about it. I just heard, just again, keep in mind, I have been out, guys, so I'm probably out of the loop on some things. I'll get back in the loop. But yeah, I have heard of that. In my opinion, I mean, peaceful protesting, great. So anyway, I think that's amazing. Yeah, exactly, Sasha. Yeah, that's just yeah. And honestly, I was just thinking about that as you asked that question earlier about like what could be the functions, and yeah, I mean yeah, you go out of state or something. Yeah, it's always there to kind of remind you, especially yeah when you're going out, whatever. Yeah, I think it's amazing idea. I think it could really, and then maybe we could get maybe get the news to pick up on it. Just to kind of get some extra attention for Sebastian. So anyway, yeah, that's what we're thinking about. Um, and yeah, we still have well over $600 to $700 in funds. And yeah, we'll go over that probably Monday. I'm not really going to touch on the funds just because I'm just not feeling the best. But um, anyway, yeah, I want to keep regurgitating what we've spent already. You guys know. So anyway, let's get into it. I am gonna do. Yeah, I mean we've gone over. We still have the 775. Of course, people wanted to donate gas money. Silver is such a great guy. He's such an amazing guy. I kind of got. He's always happy. I think I got the not the best. I mean, it's a great screenshot, but um, anyways, we love Silvers, but he said no, thank you. So yeah, we still have a lot left over, and so probably a good chunk of that, if the keychain thing works out, I think and of course we'll do like a vote or something on Monday or Wednesday or something this week. Once everything, we have all the information and then see what you guys think. But I think it's an amazing idea. All right, let's get going. Yeah, look at that. Right, there's things I'm not even thinking about how it could be just accidental um incidents where yeah, you take it to a restaurant, gas station, yeah, and you just feel like, oh hey, by the way, there's this kid that's missing. Yeah, yeah. Ah, that's great. Oh, thanks, Aunt. Yeah. Again, I can't really take the credit. This is really like I have to say hindsight, and other people really have kind of came up with this idea. It's the community though that you know is our community, I should say, as the one that has put this all together. If it all comes together, so as far as financial and everything, so. And that's the greatest thing is what can you do? You build a community and what can you do with it for the missing person? Instead of, going on YouTube and talking shit and tearing everybody else down instead of trying to help. I don't know. Anyway, all right, let's do a recap real quick. Just for anybody that may not be familiar with what's going on with the cemetery and school. I'm going to break it down in a different way because I'm trying to put it all together of like what could be going on there, right? And so this will be kind of like part one, and then maybe Monday or, during the week, we'll kind of hit part two and go a little bit more in depth. But anyway, let me go full screen real quick. And here's just a little recap just in case anybody isn't up to date on what we've been doing with this. A bunch of stuff going on the night before he went missing, and then the morning of. It's easier to say night or morning. The night before he went missing, and the night that he went missing. I guess that's easier. But here we go. I will play that real quick and be right back.
One night before, 15-year-old autistic teen, Sebastian Rogers, suspiciously disappeared. Approximately 500 yards away, just beyond the construction site, a bright light was captured on surveillance. Figure out what was this light, where it was coming from, and how it connected to Roger's disappearance. And what we found will absolutely shock you.
Come down to where I'm sitting right here. So watch this. Of course, when my light's off, you can't see anything. If I turn my lights on, I can see just graves and grass. But imagine for a moment that somebody was there and said, hey, I can't see. Turn your high beams on. Of course, it opens up the whole area. I see more. And what do I see? The monument. And they're telling me they can see it on the camera, just like the footage we've been looking at. Boom!
Sebastian Rogers was last physically seen on camera leaving the Texas Roadhouse with his mother Katie Proudfoot on Feb 25th. Whether he actually made it home that night is highly debated, but what I have recently discovered on surveillance from a nearby camera in Rogers' neighborhood could hold the answers to what may have happened to Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers' home is located here. The surveillance camera that captured the suspicious activity is located approximately here, with 2 cameras pointed towards the east, overlooking the construction site and further. The suspicious activity seen on these cameras took place here at this cemetery and also school. Just after this suspicious light illuminates for approximately 6 minutes, a little before 3:30 a.m. At 3:32, a headlight of a vehicle can be seen moving south in the cemetery. This would not be the only vehicle seen that night. Another vehicle is seen at 3:45, and just 4 minutes later, another headlight is seen at 3:49. Although there is 2 cameras that overlook the entrance to the church and cemetery, as of now, there is no sign of these vehicles seen, entering or exiting, the only main entrance to the south. On the night Sebastian Rogers disappeared, the suspicious light can be seen again at around 3:40 a.m. It is illuminated for around 6 minutes, just like on the 25th. Then after it's done being illuminated, minutes later, multiple vehicles can be seen, driving in the cemetery and at the school. Once again, more suspicious activity the night Rogers went missing. So what is the object that is being illuminated for around 6 minutes on the 25th and 26th, and how could it be connected to Sebastian Rogers' disappearance? Here is a daytime shot from the surveillance camera where you can see the construction site. It is also overlaid with the nighttime shot of the suspicious light source. You can see how the suspicious light is just beyond the construction site in the cemetery. As Silver's on the scene, drives through the cemetery, you can see that the construction site is to his left. As he continues north, he is now in the middle of the cemetery, approaching a loop. As he turns right, you will notice what they call lumbre. This object is made out of highly reflective material, like concrete, granite, and marble. This memorial also sits at a slight tilt when viewing from the east, just like the object seen in the surveillance footage. Notice both objects are rectangular in shape. As you can see here, this memorial has no artificial lighting, not in the front or the back, so whatever caused this to be illuminated at 3 a.m. on the 25th and 26th had to have come from another light source, but what? The obvious answer would be headlights from a vehicle, but what we discovered about this answer would prove to be quite disturbing and shocking. Seen here is another daytime shot, overlaid with nighttime, where you can see the memorial to the right, and in the yellow box is where we see headlights from a vehicle. But what's interesting is the fact that the vehicle seen at 3:45 a.m. has its headlights facing west on a part of the road that goes north and south. Also, this vehicle appears to be in the middle of the loop, on the west end of the cemetery, in this location. Shown here is the exact location the headlights were seen. Notice how the road isn't very wide. I also figured out that the headlights captured at 3:45 and 3:49 a.m. are at two different heights seen here. Notice when putting a static line in same spot, one light is higher up than the other one, meaning there were at least two different vehicles driving around the cemetery on the night before Sebastian Rogers disappeared on the 25th. So what were they doing, and how did the memorial site light up?
Okay. So that's just a little recap of what's been going on. Yeah, I've seen people kind of still mention like what you could do with the keychain and stuff. But yeah, that's amazing. I'm thinking about doing a members live, kind of maybe keeping this one short and going over the GPR data, and then Monday we'll really focus on the GPR data because I still need a little bit of time. I want to make sure that I don't, because I've got samples for anybody that knows what we did. We brought out the GPR. Actually, you know what? Maybe I should address that right now. Just let's see, we're at the 20-minute mark. So just in case anybody hasn't been with the channel for a bit, with everything that we discovered, which has been I think it started in November, late October, when I started slowly finding footage and suspicious activity in the cemetery, and then it just kept building, seeing stuff on the 25th, the night before he went missing, and then the night that he did go missing, and then there was tons of similarities, which we'll touch into. But what was very interesting was the fact that on the 25th, those vehicles where they're seen, I mean, I can't pinpoint exactly to like the inch, but they're definitely in this area, like as shown in the obviously in the recap. And anyway, we were kind of worried about a potential theory where they may have tried to dispose of something, potentially a body. And then we noticed when looking up burials around the time he went missing, there was one. There was a couple of them, but the one that was the closest to his disappearance was 6 days before. There was a person buried at this particular gravesite. This gravesite is literally right where you see those headlights. The road is right next, just above. Let me back this up real quick. The vehicles that we're seeing, let me move that over. So Sebastian's home, construction site, cameras looking this way, and we can see, and of course there's the video with those gentlemen that are out there walking, and you can see because they're in, it was December, so a few months before February, but it would have been the trees would have been similar, and you can see that there's actually like a window because there's obviously a tree line, but there is an opening, and it's about somewhere about right here, and that's where we see the vehicles, and then coincidentally, the person that was buried was right there. So we were worried that the car was coming literally out of the gravesite and maybe preparing, a freshly dug vault, because the dirt, the soil would have been fresh. And sometimes, again, I don't know if it's 100% all the time, but it seems like, and you can actually see one, I can't tell, not 100% on this, but I've shown examples. They don't always put the topsoil back on. Or the sod, I'm sorry, the sod. You'll see that sometimes they put straw and other stuff on it, and I don't know how long they leave that until they actually put the sod back on. Maybe there's some things that they have to do to make sure that when they put the sod back on, it that grass grows. So anyway, again, that's a little bit out of my expertise, but anyway, so we were a little worried about that. So of course we had to present this to a couple of people, including an engineer in lighting. And anyway, long story short, we got a GPR team out there and a cadaver dog as well. And I just want to be clear, just so anybody maybe misquoted me. The cadaver dog, our cadaver dog, did not hit on anything. And this guy is a great, the handler is amazing, very professional, and he's actually that dog has been used in this case before. I don't know where he was sent to, so, but anyway, yes, no hits. So at least we can say we cleared the cemetery as far as cadaver goes. Now, of course, we did the GPR to make sure, and the GPR, it doesn't show what appears to be any kind of like bodies or anything above the vaults, but there are a few anomalies. Now, it could be just a rock. I don't think it could be pipes or anything. That wouldn't make any sense. Maybe tree root. Those are the two main things, would be a tree root or rock. So that's why the GPR data is kind of interesting, because there are a few anomalies. So it is possible maybe not a body was disposed, but maybe some evidence was disposed in there. So anyway, that is what we did. And we are going to continue to, obviously, the reports that we got. I have an expert in that field to get a second opinion as far as the data goes. And we'll kind of go over that in the membership. And then Monday during a regular live for the non-members, we'll go over even more. I just got to make sure I'm trying to get examples of what it looks like to see like a rock, and I'm trying to find a tree root as well, so we can kind of compare our data to the other data, if that makes sense. And if you're wondering, the data looks like this right here. And we'll touch on it at the end a little bit, but I'm going to save that for the members. We did touch on it, I think, last week. Again, they did multiple runs. So there are more than one picture. There's like width way and then going, the length. So there are multiple scans that would show interesting a few anomalies that we'll definitely touch on. But I think as far as the cemetery goes, and after we did what we did with the GPR and everything and the cadaver dog, I believe at the very least he was moved, or as far as Sebastian Rogers goes, I think it is connected to this case. They may have moved him over there at the cemetery and switched him out to another vehicle possibly. So now it's just trying to kind of put it all together, because again, it's so interesting that you have 2 days back to back where you have similar stuff going on, and we already kind of debated on what would be kind of a rational explanation that isn't nefarious. And again, ghost hunting, and maybe like a deal went down, you know what I mean? But I don't know why you would go and deal 2 days in a row at the same place, almost the same exact time. I don't know why you'd go into a cemetery to do that. So that's about the only two things I can think of. But there's so much stuff between the 2 days that are just way too many coincidences. Absolutely eerie. So Let me play this for a second and read chat. So again, I know I've gone over a lot of this stuff before. I made something new that I wanted to bring to you guys. That I had an former detective that I spoke to over the phone, and bring up some interesting ideas about what he thought and the connections between the 2 days, because everything that you see going on again goes on the night before he goes missing and then the night of. And I know I say night because it's just easier to say that, but if you want to say morning of, it's the same thing, really. It's early morning, but I just feel like night of, just it's easier to roll off the tongue. There are total of 3. 2 in the construction site and 1 at the cemetery. And if you remember, I do have the canine where he kind of basically goes around the retention pond. I know they drained at least 1, maybe 2 of them. They definitely dove the one at the cemetery because I have photos of that. Yeah. And I'm going to go over that. I know I kind of shown this, and this is just kind of showing you guys an overview. And this is the 25th. We have this columbrium that lights up. Again, if anybody's new, I'll kind of dive into it in a different way. But that's just kind of an overhead of stuff going on. But I'm going to try to, in the next week, try to piece together what I think may be going on in there. Because really, I'm just showing what I can see on the camera, on the surveillance. And I haven't really kind of speculated like what they may be doing in between all these time frames. Because it's so weird. On the 25th, the night before he goes missing, we see the columbrium light up. That's the first thing that starts on both dates. And then after that, we see vehicles. But what's interesting about the 25th is we never see a vehicle or vehicles entering or exiting the one and only main entrance. There is a secondary entrance to the north, which is over here. It has a gate, sometimes locked, sometimes not. But it'd be weird, for somebody to be entering from the north, especially if the gate was locked. And then if it was, who would have access to that? Now, there is apparently ways to allegedly get around the gate. I can't say 100% for sure, but it is interesting. All right. No, dog. So you can train dog, Cheryl. I mean, that's a great question. Of course, that was, one of the things I wondered about too. So obviously you can train dogs for so many different, scents. Because dogs are trained to smell certain electronics, bomb sniffer dogs, and so this dog is trained to again, I don't know how it works, but he is trained to not, because obviously if that was the case, he would have been hitting everywhere. If you think about it, our canine cadaver dog, because we have literally the whole video of him going around, I think 90% video of him. And, if that was the case, the dog would have probably had been going nuts, signaling, but he did not. Or she, it was a she, I'm sorry. Maybe they didn't succeed their plan on the 25th, so they had to repeat. Yeah, I think it was a run. I think it was a dry run on the 25th and maybe get things together and scope it out. But that's just my opinion, of course. I mean, that's an interesting thought. Did they try to move him on the 25th and that didn't work? You know what's interesting that you mentioned that now? Because from what I understand, Katie doesn't really talk much about what happened the night before he went missing. Right? I think hindsight BMW are really good. What do we know about Saturday? Right, Saturday. Like not much. She talked about Sunday, but Saturday she didn't talk much about. So that is kind of interesting you mentioned that now. I still lean more towards it being like a practice run, but it's interesting. You could look at it that way. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. I appreciate that. So anyway, okay, let's move to the stuff that I made for you guys here. Come on. Okay. So thinking this in the realm of this is so the night before he goes missing, or you want to say the morning. Yeah, so it's so much harder to say the morning before he went missing. I feel like it's easier to say the night before he went missing. But it is early morning, obviously, at 3:00 in the morning. But the night before he went missing, 3:23, and then the night that he did went missing, or morning of, as you can see, those things light up. Although it's a 20-minute difference, they both light up at exactly at the 23-minute mark, or the 3-minute mark, whatever. And they last exactly 9 minutes. Or, 6 minutes. I'm sorry. They finish at the 9-minute mark. So you have that. I tried to make this go a little bit faster. I tried to line up the times, but you guys get the idea. It's going to go. And they fade out. Almost identical. I mean, that is so odd. What are the odds? Almost 6 minutes exactly. And it starts at the, one's at 3:23, the other one's at 3:43, and they both end at 6 minutes after. Approximately. And that's the first thing that we know that happens. I don't see any vehicles. I've been looking and looking almost every time before I go live. I'll spend at least an hour, maybe 2 hours, depending on when I start needing to get my live ready. But I definitely at least spend 1 hour at least looking. And then sometimes in between the days I don't go live, I look at it as well. And maybe we'll do like a live where we kind of look at and see if we can find any of these vehicles on the 25th. Because again, we don't ever see them arriving or leaving on the 25th at all. But anyway, the only difference is we have a 20-minute difference between the start time of the Columbium. Because remember, Columbium is the first thing that happens that we can see, that I know of. And then after that, it's vehicles moving around. And then the 25th, I have no idea where they go until I can see them leaving the church. To me, I think they leave out the north gate, which is really odd. And again, keep in mind, I have 2 cameras that can see the entrance. So I've got 2 different angles, and yet I don't see nothing leaving, where I can see up to 3 vehicles, definitely at least 2, but up to 3 vehicles leaving on the 26th. And then we have the Scout, which is positioned up on a higher up end that is literally lit up for 2 minutes. both on the 25th and 26th. All right, so I am going to. I made a new diagram to kind of put it all together. I need to get super chats real quick, so I'm going to just leave this up for a second. I apologize. I am way behind. It's been a minute since I've been live, so please bear with me. Heather, thank you so much for supporting this channel. God bless you. And we've got Pat81 with the $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Pat. And again, another donation of $4.99. Thank you so much, Pat. God bless you. I don't know if that's short for Patricia, so I apologize if it is. Hobo Mom. Now, we hit the 1 year anniversary. That's awesome, Hobo. Thank you so much for a whole year of support. That's so awesome. Black Witter, good to see you. $5 Euro. God bless you so much. Longtime member. Big support. Then we have my wonderful, lovely mod, Jennifer. Best channel ever. Best mods. Best Chris. Oh, thank you so much. 44 months. That is insane. Joni, thank you so much, Joni Lad, for the continued membership. That is so awesome. God bless you. And Cheryl, also renewing the membership. Thank you so much, Cheryl. And then we got South Oz. It says you hit the 1 year anniversary as well. Chris, I have the utmost respect for you. Thank you so much, South Oz. That's so awesome. I wish I was 100%. Yeah, I know, Sajay, you keep bringing up the Worshams. Yeah, we'll maybe touch on that if we can here towards the end. Okay, so here's the new thing new diagram I wanted to bring out and show you guys here. So these are all the areas that we see stuff going on and the times that we see cars. And this is kind of the main area. And this is the Scout Columbrium here. And the only difference on the 25th is that we see the cars over here. Don't see any cars here. In this area here where you see the yellow circle, I have two, that's where, because we have two different cameras that look towards that way. They look like, they're looking like this. So they kind of overlap each other. And they both overlap this area here. And again, on the 25th, again, there's just one road. And on the 25th, I don't see any vehicles entering or leaving. And I don't even see them over here at all. But I do see them over here. Scout's in the same position. See it for 2 minutes on the 25th. The only difference is we see it earlier at 3:23. Whereas on the 26th, we see it at 3:55, which is very interesting because after it dissipates on the 26th, literally 4 minutes later, we see a vehicle leave just after that dissipates. I think it's that vehicle. And there's a little road right here that I think we probably see that vehicle possibly leave. And then we see headlights mainly when they're leaving and a few that are coming. But anyway, a lot of activity on this road here. And apparently, allegedly, it's still tough to say, but there could be a vehicle at the school as well. It's tough to say 100%, but anyway, so now to what? Let's see, what time do we start? Okay, 5:30. 1 second here. Okay. So, if you guys recall, I told you guys I spoke with a former detective. He emailed me, and then we kind of spoke over the phone, and he shared a couple of things with me. If I got the notes. Yeah, okay. I've got a few of his notes. I wish I would have taken more. Anyway, he brought up something very interesting. I mean, I kind of had it laid out, but I didn't really kind of like fully think about one of the things that he mentioned, which is to me very interesting. Okay. So the 25th, the Columbium starts lighting up at 3:23. Now, obviously, that definitely means that they had to have been in the cemetery before that. You know, maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, maybe got in there, you know. So we'll just say, just to round it off, that they started sometime around 3 a.m. the night before he goes missing, right? Like a dry run for whatever they're doing. And then we see the vehicles, moving around. And then after, what's the last sighting? I think it's 3:49 is the last sighting that I know of on the 25th. Then on the 26th, the first event, just like the 25th, this is the morning that Sebastian goes missing, is the Columbium starts at 3:43. And again, it lasts 6 minutes, just like the 25th, but the only difference is it starts 20 minutes later. And this is where the former detective had brought up something kind of interesting about this 20-minute difference. And so we know on the morning of that there was another event that happened in his neighborhood. We don't know exactly the exact time, but we know, the approximate time. And that is the flashlights and the unknown vehicle somewhere between 3:10, somewhere around 3:10. So I put, let's say it starts at 3:10, maybe lasts up to 10 minutes. But what's interesting is, if you remember, we have this unknown silver car, which we still haven't. I mean, we pretty much have narrowed down the model. A Honda Accord, I believe, is the top. Possibly a Hyundai Sonata. Somewhere it would have to be, I think, because it has the LED tail lights. It has to be 2012 or 2014 and after. And that vehicle is seen on the 25th, the 26th. So it's seen on the night before he goes missing, the night of that he goes missing, and then after he went missing. And then, as far as I know, never seen again. Which is interesting. So, if it was like a vehicle that was known to the neighborhood, it's kind of weird because there hasn't been anybody that I know that has moved. So there is a possibility of DoorDash, but I don't know. I don't know why you deliver something at the bottom of Kellen and then drive all the way up Kellen just to do a U-turn. I'd say it's not implausible, but just seems like unnecessary. Now, that car was not going that fast. I just kind of sped that up. But as you can see, we can see it on the 25th, the 26th, and the 27th. But I wanted to bring this up. As you can see, on the 26th, the morning of, they went missing. We start at 3 a.m. We have that silver car. And we still don't know whether it's involved or not. So, if it is involved, kind of interesting because it starts basically right at 3 a.m. Could be a lookout car. Then that car leaves. And if I recall, I have to look at my notes. And there is car going east at 3 a.m. 3. Yes. Okay. So there is, after this silver car leaves, if you guys don't know, I have a camera. Hold on, let me pull up Google Earth. This will be interesting. This is why probably, I don't know if it'll be Monday, but maybe the live after that one, I'm going to start to kind of put this together, because I think some of these cars that we see on Kellen could also be connected to the vehicles at the cemetery. Okay. And I apologize. I'll read chat here in just a minute, but I just want to show you guys. So we have a camera that looks this direction, and we can see just a little patch of the Long Hollow Road, right? Now, to the left is the construction and then the cemetery. There's only one road, which is Long Hollow, right? So just if you come out of this, there's only one way to come out of this residence. That's Long Hollow. That vehicle you just saw, go back just a little bit. As you can see, 259. Sorry, let me get rid of that quote. I'm sorry. As you can see, it's 2:59 and 32 seconds. It's leaving. And it would probably, let's see, let me go back to it again. So it has 30 seconds to get all the way, and that would probably make sense. It'd have 30 seconds to go back all the way to the end of Kellen. So that car is seen right here. It's heading down this, right? And 30 seconds would be just about perfect. Maybe 40 seconds. So it leaves, and we have this. Let's see, where's the window? Yeah, the window's right here. We have a camera that can see just enough of this road at night. And interestingly enough, at 3 a.m. and 30 seconds, and again, I'll put this more together for Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. That car is seen then going this direction east. We're flipped around right now. But that car is seen going east. So I'll keep that in mind. Then at 3:03, sorry, one more second. I should have kept that map up. And I've shown this vehicle before, but at 3:03, there's a vehicle coming, and it appears to be slowing down. It even looks like it has a blinker light on. It's tough to say because, again, it's just a flash, but it does appear to be like slowing down. We've shown it before, and I'll probably put that together when we try to combine everything. But so keep that in mind. Interesting that car goes east. And then we have the 303 car. Oops, this is probably going a little faster than I wanted it to. And basically the point I'm making is that the 26th, the same thing. The event starts at 3 a.m., but of course we now have activity that first has to go on at the neighborhood, which could take up to 20 minutes. If it, let's say the flashlight starts at 3:10 and maybe goes on for 10 minutes, and then a car leaves. And interestingly enough, if we just say it's, maybe up to 10 minutes that it takes, that's 3:20. And so if it started at 3, that means that's 20 minutes. And what the former detective was telling me is it's interesting that we have this 20-minute thing going on, and coincidentally, instead of starting at 3:23 on the 25th, is when the Columbrium started up, it now starts exactly 20 minutes later. And it just happens to be on the morning he went missing. So that's what he had. There's more stuff, and I'm going to talk about the other one right now. But dang it, I made this go a little bit faster than I wanted it to. Dang it. But hopefully that makes sense as to the. And then you add in, if let's say that silver vehicle is connected, like it's a lookout vehicle, and then of course we had the vehicle that was seen at during the flashlight video. So let's just say in theory that both of those cars, the 3 a.m. car and then the 3:10 car, whatever, are both connected. That's 2 vehicles. And then interestingly enough, say they leave, and then shortly later we have all the stuff that happens in the cemetery on the 26th. The only difference is everything's 20 minutes later. And then at the end, and this is the interesting part, is we have at least 2, possibly 3 vehicles, maybe 1 leaving the school, but definitely 2 vehicles in the cemetery. There's just no doubt about that. We can see it on 2 different cameras, one leaving at 3:51 and then one leaving approximately 3:57. And they leave out the church entrance. So hopefully, we've already talked about it, the church they said that they had that footage and sent it over to law enforcement. They don't have it anymore because they got they upgraded their system, so they lost all their old footage. But pray to God that they had not only the 26th, but the 25th, because clearly there was more stuff going on. And if those cameras were working, they would have captured the vehicle pretty easily, actually. When you look at where a few of their cameras are set up, which I believe there's one here, and then if I recall, there's one here. And remember, this is the only road here. So it would have captured it here, and it would have captured it coming out here. Now, this is the interesting thing, is for anybody that doesn't know, in Tennessee, you don't need a front license plate. So, and there's rumor that the vehicle that was in the neighborhood when Sebastian went missing with the flashlights, rumor has it that that vehicle, somewhere between 310 or around 310, allegedly did not have a back license plate. So I do wonder if those vehicles then went over, either came in from the north, because still I don't see any vehicles entering. That's the weirdest thing. But did they purposely leave out the church entrance to maybe be caught on camera, and then they just disposed of those cars? Almost like they wanted like 1 or 2 cars to be seen, so they would be focused, like law enforcement be focused on those cars, and then they went and destroyed them or something, and now they're kind of stuck up Schitt's Creek because they've got maybe at least one vehicle that they know, like the make and model, but they have no way of identifying it. But then here's the other way to look at it, and this is the other thing that the former detective mentioned, is on the 26th, remember the morning that he went missing, undoubtedly there's at least 2 vehicles, possibly 3 on the 26th, but 2 definitely in the cemetery leaving out the church about 6 to 8 minutes apart. And if they weren't involved, that's at least 2 to 3 witnesses if that's just a driver only. And if they had passengers, you would have, up to God knows how many witnesses that could have seen something, right? Especially if they went right, went down Long Hollow and went west. So yeah. Yeah, that is what was said. That was kind of something from an inside source. And yeah, it's pretty scary. After 357 on Kellen, no, I've looked. Yeah, on the 26th, yeah, I think I've looked at all the hours as far as the 26th is on Kellen. I'm pretty sure. I'd have to go back and look, but I know I've looked at hours after like 3 a.m. and hours before 3 a.m. and yeah, nothing that I can think of. Yes, Marie. Yes. That's such a great yeah. It's so weird that Crispy mentioned that. That one of the cameras due west. So yeah, really interesting. He kind of quotes it weird, but there's license plate readers here. And then I'm not sure exactly where the other ones are, but somewhere due west. I'm not sure. But you have them here due east, and then somewhere due west, there's an area where they have license plate readers. I am not sure exactly how far. I don't know. It could be all the way up here. But yeah, it was very interesting. And then he knew exactly allegedly how many cars went through this intersection, which is interesting. I don't know why they've never entertained that more than once, or at least publicly, anyway. So real quick, I got to use the restroom real quick. I'm gonna just play the recap for a second again, just for anybody who may missed it. So I can just quickly use the restroom. I apologize. And then I'll show a little bit of the GPR data, and then we'll do a members live. And then I'll have a much bigger show. I'll show more of the footage. I'm sure people are wondering. Okay, I talked about a vehicle at 3. You can see the vehicle leaving at 3:03. I'll put that together to kind of stitch more of the 26 together, if that makes sense, to show you how I do think the two, what happened in the neighborhood and in the cemetery, likely connected somehow. I mean, again, I could tell you after we did the GPR and Cadaver Dog, there was things that we heard that tell me that at the very least, Sebastian could have been in that area. I can't say 100%, but I came from a pretty good source. So I'm gonna play this real quick. I'm just gonna use the restroom, and then I'll show you guys the GPR data a little bit, and then like I said, Monday we'll go over that more in depth. And then I'll try to do a stitch together timeline with more of the footage to connect the 26. Really focus on the night he went missing. And then I have some other things that I was thinking we could do to kind of switch it up, so I'm not regurgitating the same thing. So, and I'll talk about that right after I get done using the restroom real quick. So, be right back.
Boom!
Sebastian Rogers was last physically seen on camera leaving the Texas Roadhouse with his mother Katie Proudfoot on Feb 25th. Whether he actually made it home that night is highly debated, but what I have recently discovered on surveillance from a nearby camera in Rogers' neighborhood could hold the answers to what may have happened to Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers' home is located here. The surveillance camera that captured the suspicious activity is located approximately here, with 2 cameras pointed towards the east, overlooking the construction site and further. The suspicious activity seen on these cameras took place here at this cemetery and also school. Just after this suspicious light illuminates for approximately 6 minutes, a little before 3:30 a.m. At 3:32, a headlight of a vehicle can be seen moving south in the cemetery. This would not be the only vehicle seen that night. Another vehicle is seen at 3:45, and just 4 minutes later, another headlight is seen at 3:49. Although there is 2 cameras that overlook the entrance to the church and cemetery, as of now, there is no sign of these vehicles seen, entering or exiting, the only main entrance to the south. On the night Sebastian Rogers disappeared, the suspicious light can be seen again at around 3:40 a.m. It is illuminated for around 6 minutes, just like on the 25th. Then after it's done being illuminated, minutes later, multiple vehicles can be seen, driving in the cemetery and at the school. Once again, more suspicious activity the night Rogers went missing. So what is the object that is being illuminated for around 6 minutes on the 25th and 26th, and how could it be connected to Sebastian Rogers' disappearance? Here is a daytime shot from the surveillance camera where you can see the construction site. It is also overlaid with the nighttime shot of the suspicious light source. You can see how the suspicious light is just beyond the construction site in the cemetery.
Okay. All right. Apologize about that. Yeah, that is Eric, not to get off topic, but yeah, the medication, I don't know exactly what he was on. But yeah. Car alarm. Good old car alarm. It's always the same car. I swear their kids play with this car alarm that's close to my window. Oh, GPR. So, So yeah, I will stitch this together a little bit better and show the footage for anybody that's kind of missed it, because we can, like I said, there is footage where we can see that angle that I was talking about, where you can see it Long Hollow and the vehicles. Obviously, it's far away, so obviously we can't make out what kind of vehicle it is. We can just only tell like which direction it's going. But when you look at the times, because again, there's only 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 to 11 vehicles between 3 and 4 a.m. on the 26th that we see going back and forth. So, for 1 hour, I mean, again, it is a major highway, but yeah, only 10 vehicles. And again, some of the timestamps of those line up with the vehicles that we see kind of that would be entering or exiting. So it's very interesting. I don't know, but it's almost a daily thing. I mean, I try to block it out, but yeah. Oh, I used to use Blender back in the day. Oh my gosh, I'm sure it's updated a lot since I used it. Um, Man, Blender's been around. Yeah, I have not used Blender in a long time. I'd probably get, yeah. Yeah, it'd be cool to render some stuff. Yeah, GPR data. Anyway, moving on. But yeah, so just one more time again, canine cadaver dog, no hits. Just to be clear on that. Which again, at least we cleared something, right? We were able to come together as a community instead of bickering and tearing other channels down. We focus on us, and our community came together in ways I could not even ever imagine how quickly people donated, and that shows the trust. Obviously, I wouldn't be doing this for 4 years if I were to scam anybody or was a scammer. Anyway, but the GPR, although we don't think, he's buried in the vault or buried above the vault, there is some interesting stuff in the data that could suggest that maybe let's say if there was foul play, and maybe they knew, because if it was garbage night, right, and if they threw anything that was nefarious related material, if something bad happened to Sebastian, which I hope is not the case, but in a hypothetical, if that did happen and they thought, okay, well, if we throw it in the trash, of course, obviously they went and searched the landfill 2 weeks later. So maybe they thought, well, instead of doing that, we'll, bury the evidence. So that's kind of where, because it is very, very odd that on the 25th, those vehicles, I mean, again, I can't narrow it down to the foot, but especially for those who have been with us, know when we saw that footage of the guys walking, and you can see right where there's some tree opening, there's an opening with the trees, and it's right where our grave is at, and that is right where the cars are coming out, like literally like coming what appears to be out of the gravesite. Does make you wonder. Oh, thank you, me and you. Oh, I don't know, Wildcat. It's a great question, but yeah, I would hope that, especially since we see vehicles on the 25th, activity going on the 25th, that maybe, okay. And again, also, here's another way to look at it. Maybe when they looked at that church, those cameras at the church, especially if it was early days, maybe they were only looking for Sebastian and weren't even paying attention to vehicles moving around. So now being able to send that over to him, because we did send it to law enforcement months ago, and we did get a response. I told you guys, thumbs up, right? I can't really, obviously they're not gonna, I have a third party that we send that to, because I'm sure they're not gonna respond to YouTubers, because they can't really say anything, because anyway, people will try to twist it, or maybe not on purpose, but you know what I mean. So anyway, but yes, we did get a response, like, hey, great, appreciate the tip, and that's all we want, is at least acknowledgement that they received it, right? So, and then with the GPR data, there are some anomalies. And if you haven't seen this before, I'll go over it just a little bit, but Monday is when we'll go over it more. So this is, let's see, do I have? Oh, here we go. Also, that's the grave. And as you can see we're after the GPR guys. I have the footage for the members. You can see as they're running both, they go width way and long way, and they can already start to see, where the vaults are at. This is a double vault. It's this lady was buried approximately 6 days before he went missing. The husband passed much earlier. He had already been buried. The husband's on the right, but we were focused on this one. And in the data, the footage that I've gotten has taken a very long time of building a great rapport and trust with certain neighbors in that neighborhood. And yeah. And now, of course, if anybody's, newer to the chat or new to the channel, anything that I discover, like every time, for those that have been with me, every time I've discovered a new thing, because this has started late October, early November, and it was like I discovered the Columbrium, and then cars, and then more cars, and then a Scout, more cars, stuff on both days, and just kind of kept kind of snowballing. And every time I'd find something, we'd send it over, and then eventually we just sent a whole package over to them with most of the stuff. And of course I've discovered new stuff since then, but they have for the most part the big picture. So anyway, in this data, and I'm just going to kind of slowly or quickly go over it, and we'll go over it again, like I said, Monday. This is one of the scans. We have more than just this scan. I've only really shown one scan. I will show some of the other ones Monday. Now, this is one where they go width way, right? So it would be north to south. So the headstone would be facing us, and the guy is going this way. And so that is the wife that passed away, and that's the husband. Now, again, I'm not going to get too much into the data, and I'll explain it much more on Monday. We've already kind of gone over it, but these are what you call hyperbolas. And they kind of make a upside down kind of horseshoe type thing. Now, this isn't exactly what the vaults look like. So keep in mind, this is just signals getting sent down and signals reflecting back. This does not mean this is exactly what it looks like underground. Keep that in mind. That is the biggest thing. And like I said, we'll go over it more on Wednesday. These things, the reason why they have such what they call limbs is because when the guy is going over it, it starts to pick up. And I'm going to get a video. That's why I'm going to wait till Monday. I'll show a video where a guy kind of explains it. And it shows a guy kind of, with the equipment going. And he's over here, and he starts to pick this up, and it starts to do the U, upside down U. And that's just because it's picking up many feet away. But the main thing we're concerned with is, notice above. So this is the two graves, wife and husband. And then we have a grave on either side of them. There's kind of a gap in between them. As you can see above their graves, the ones to the right and left, notice it's kind of blurry, it's smooth, and there's not much going on. There's a little bit of information, but there's not much reflecting back. Again, keep in mind, I am no expert in this. I am really just kind of going over layman's terms. But the thing that's interesting is we have 4, probably up to 6 anomalies. And right now you can only see the 4, but we have probably, I think, maybe 6 anomalies. Probably 2 that we're really interested in. But you see these like Star Trek symbols. Again, what you're seeing is not what the object looks like. So keep that in mind. But you can see these little Star Trek symbols. The ones we're really concerned with is probably this one here at 1.5 foot deep, and then this one at 2.5 foot deep. And this one looks like it's actually above the lady's grave, like, above her vault, which is interesting. Now, it could be just a rock, but that's why we'll go over it on Monday. I know I said that we were going to go over this, when I was feeling better last week, but I will show what it looks like to see rocks and kind of what it looks like. But what's interesting is we've spoken with the guy that he actually buried the husband, which is interesting. And we've seen some of the field that they use, and it doesn't look like there's any rocks, like as you can see here, which is very interesting. Hey, Blonde Granny. It's a great name. But that is the guy there, and they spoke to him when they were doing the experiments, and here's him filling in a vault, and he's got a little trailer to the right there, and you can see that the soil that they fill up, I mean, I don't see any big rocks, and some of the signatures we got back on those scans appear, at least there's something there. It could be a rock, and the size of it, I still got to speak with my experts. One thing I forgot to ask, kind of get a general idea, but we're speaking of at least, and again, take this with a grain of salt, but at least a few of these could be as small as maybe something like this, to maybe a little bit bigger. Again, keep in mind, just take that with a grain of salt. So like a large rock or a small boulder. But the issue is they have pebbles out there, but would they fill in, a little big rock or a small boulder in what they call the fill above the vaults? So we need to. There are ways to do further testing. I'm not going to mention that. We can leave that for law enforcement or do further testing. There's ways to do it without ever getting anywhere near the gravesite or really disturbing anything. But yeah, let's see. And that's what I'll say for the members. But anyway, yeah, so we'll go over the data a little bit. Monday, go over it further. And then I will, if it's probably not Monday, but then the live after that, I will try to start connecting the cemetery and the stuff that happens on, basically the 26th, what happens in this neighborhood and in the cemetery, and show you how there's some interesting things that kind of connect, that I think they, at the very least, Sebastian was near that cemetery, possibly switched out. Yeah, I'm not an expert, Candy. I mean, obviously we do have an expert in this field, a very smart expert, that literally, that's her job. And she may be in that live on Monday to help, but I'll have examples to kind of show you guys the different signatures of what they look like. I have examples of what like a body buried looks like. Again, it doesn't show a body. It has a certain signature to it. But anyway, yeah. So we'll definitely go over that and more. Any questions before I finish up? I'm gonna set up a members live. We'll do kind of like maybe a 30 to 45-minute members. Let me get caught up here. Sassy's gifted a Mob Crew membership. Thank you so much, Sassy, and thank you so much for everything. And we will do something for our mods here probably in March, the beginning of close to March, just after when everything starts to kind of slow down. Hope Floats, thank you so much for the membership, and Margie as well. Sunshine, thank you so much for the $1.99, and the Blue Third, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. You guys are awesome. Yeah, thank you, BZ. Yeah. Diane, anything that I go over the members, I go over probably in the next live, you know. But you've got to, I know not everybody can afford, memberships. But again, that's, you know, they are helping extra support this channel, and so it's nice to do stuff for them. But I will go over basically what I'm going over tonight. I will go over Monday, probably just as in depth, if not probably more in depth. So yeah. Yeah, Valerie, exactly. Yeah, it's very interesting you said that. And I hope you're doing well, Shaq Lady. It's good to see you. I just look up a few more questions. Just to remind anybody that missed it, this is kind of what we're working on, is a keychain for Sebastian, where if everything falls into place, maybe it'll be ready in a couple weeks, something like that. I don't want to give it an exact timeline, but basically they'll be prepaid, they'll be already paid for, and then you scan a QR code or go to a website and you can order one for free. We'll have like 300 made, and we kind of just hope that people around America order these keychains, and that way they get spread out, and then that is spreading basically his flyer, because it has his information and the flyer, the FBI flyer data at the bottom there. And then wherever you go, that person, those keychains go everywhere, and you might be able to remind yourself, oh, hey, there's this child missing. And yeah, I think it's amazing. Lori Short Legs, great name. Thank you so much for the $4 super chat. Yeah, I'm curious to know where the one on the Long Hollow is, Jack Lady, the one that allegedly wasn't working. I don't know where exactly the next one is that's going west. I mean, I assume at the very least it's over here. It could be closer, but I'm not sure. I mean, not really a major intersection until the freeway. But yeah, it's interesting he mentions that. Yeah, and I understand not everybody, but again, like I said, I'll basically what I'm going over tonight with the members, will be I'll go over that and more on Monday. So, all right, guys. We'll have much more definitely Monday. So stay tuned, and I thank everybody for taking the time out of your night to tune in. I'll do the pet outro. Actually, let me set up the members live real quick here. And we'll just kind of go over a little bit of the GPR data, and then, of course, Monday we're going to go over it much more in depth. So, because I want to get some more examples that I think would be really fun, or not fun, but it'd just be interesting. Second here, and then we'll do the pet outro, and then for the pets, for the members, I will try to we'll probably, if it's not busy, maybe towards the end of this coming week, I will get another collection of pet pictures, because I just want to do it once a month. That makes it easier for me. Okay. Every time I set up a members only live, it always tries to revert back to public. We'll see. It'll work. Yep, it says public. Always does that. There we go. Okay. I've got it set up. I don't know if one of my mods could grab the link from it and share it. Actually, I can do it. Oh, God, it's it. And then one of these times we'll maybe go over and see if we can find any of those vehicles entering, and maybe we could just play some interviews. It'll be interesting to see what happens on this anniversary coming up. Okay, there's the link to the members live. I'll start it in about 5 minutes from when the show ends. Butts Girl, oh, thank you for all you do. Thank you so much, Butts Girl. I appreciate that. And Sassy gifted another Mob Crew membership. That is so awesome. Thank you so much. Helps out those that may not be able to afford a membership. And thank you so much, the Blue Third. I want to say Blue Bird. The Blue Third, thank you so much for gifting a Mob Crew membership. That is so awesome. All right, guys. Much love. Hopefully I'll feel much better by Monday. I'm sure I will, compared to how I was this week. And yeah, I think it'll be an exciting show Monday. I'll get a lot prepared over the weekend. So with that, we'll do a pet outro, and then we'll see you guys. We'll see the members here in a few minutes, and then the rest of you, we'll see you guys on Monday. And again, we'll go over the GPR data and much more in depth. So with that, God bless, and we'll see you guys very soon.
Signs of the darkest Call the secrets from your crystal heart.